We are live. What's happening? High ticket seller. Hope you guys are doing great today. It is Wednesday hump day. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday hump day. Super excited to be back for another 10-minute high ticket tune up, right? Woo! All right. So today's question comes in from none other but Mr. Brian A. And he said, Sean, I had a conversation with him yesterday, and this is such a great question. I'm so glad that he asked me this because this is something that I wanted to answer for everybody, especially for you. So if you're listening right now, thank you for tuning in. Please drop a comment, say hello. But the question is, how do I get into a sales conversation, whether it be on social media, on the phone, through email, through whatever, without feeling salesy? Like, yo, if you're the one who feels like you're salesy and slimy and like all those other feelings, like write in the comments like because I know that I've been in that place. I know it sucked, and I know it's something that nobody should ever have to be in, simply because sales is the best profession in the world. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't remember is that a sales job is not a job to actually convince somebody or persuade someone, but rather a sales professional's job is to guide someone to making the right decision for their business to enhance, increase, outperform, change something that wasn't working, or move in a direction that's going to grow their organization and grow their results. And that's what a sales pro is supposed to do. They're not supposed to say, hey, I'm going to persuade you. I'm going to use this neuro-linguistic programming and just like mind screw you. Like, no, that's bad. That's like, I always say this, always for good, never for evil. And here's what I'll share with you. If you're trying to start sales conversations every single day, I start them every single day. And I literally have a cheat sheet for you today that I'm going to share with you. And I'm going to drop it in the comments when I'm done so you guys can actually win the game. Now, as we were having this conversation yesterday, Brian says to me, he's like, man, every time I get on social and I start having these conversations, I feel really salesy. How do you do that, Sean? And I said, well, I actually use an analogy. And the analogy is the word WASP, WASP. Okay. So like the little buzzy round bug that flies around, right? So remember that analogy, and I'm going to share what that means in just a second. So hang with me. But literally what it comes down to, how do you not feel salesy? The overarching strategic goal here is to hit on what we call emotional trigger words. Okay. So like an emotional trigger word is a action verb or word that describes a specific emotional feeling. So the analogy WASP that I use stands for worried about. Okay, that's the W, worried about. Annoyed by is the A, right? Struggling with, pissed off because, right? Like that's the analogy that I use. Use that one if you feel like it's going to serve you well. And this is how you get into sales conversations that doesn't feel salesy. The first thing to do, obviously, we always have to create a little bit of rapport or bonding. And so if you're reaching out through social media, the question is like, hey, I'm so-and-so with so-and-so company, and I'm interested in learning a little bit more about how you attack this one transformation that you help companies solve. I'm curious, do you struggle? Are you worried about this? And then I would wait for a response. And if they respond or they don't respond the next day, if they didn't respond, I'd come back. I'd be like, hey, a lot of clients that we work with kind of get annoyed because of this. That was the A. They don't respond, I'll come back again and I'll say, hey, are you possibly struggling with this? And if I get to the third one and no response, I usually have a 3-strike and you're out rule. So like if they don't respond to one of those emotional trigger sentences that I send over to them, they're going to leave. Now, this is so non-traditional. No sales pros do this. And when you start the conversation in an emotionally triggered and charged moment, what happens is the prospect thinks to themselves, oh my God, like that is a problem I have. I need to talk to this person. Right. And so if you think about it, like the fishing analogy, what we're doing is we're fishing for pain. And so we're going to throw out a little hook, which is one of our worried, annoyed by, struggling with, or pissed off because, and that's the one I run through every single time. So if any conversation that you ever get into with me, what I'll be saying with you is like, well, hold on a second. Like, Brian, are you worried about this? And I said it in such a way with the tonality that people are like, oh man, like, yes, I'm totally worried about that. And if you miss the mark, you miss the mark, right? And that's the key about how to get into a conversation without being salesy, because you use the trigger word and then you insert the pain right behind the trigger word. So it's like, are you worried about this? And wait for an answer. A lot of sales pros will keep asking question after question after question. Don't do that, right? The best move is to literally say one question and wait for one answer before you ask your next question. And as a sales professional, our job is not to tell and tell and tell. Rather, it's to use stories to make points, but then to ask questions and help prospects guide themselves to a decision that's going to actually enhance or grow and increase their business, their life, their world, right? And so that's the big difference of how to not feel salesy during a sales call, is very simply start with a very straightforward adult to adult conversation, no emotion. And you say, hey, my name is Sean. I'm with the Sales Ascenders. We help B2B sales professionals and business owners who do their own sales, right? And a lot of people come to me when they're worried about this. They're worried about, how do I put more prospects on my calendar? They're struggling with, I don't know, I don't have any framework to close a deal in my sales conversations. I can get people on my calendar, I can't close them, right? Do you struggle with that? Are you worried about that? Are you annoyed because of this? Like, does that piss you off? And I'm asking you a question directly, and all of a sudden it's not salesy. It's rather, no, like, I'm digging to see if you have the problem that I know that I've solved. And when you come at it with love and conviction that you know you can solve and create the transformation, you're going to see a tremendous night and day difference in what you do. So let's dive in. I'm going to actually share my screen right here, and I'm going to go through the what I call the power of words. You can probably see me here. Let me just double check that I'm in the right space. There we go. Cool. In fact, here's what's really cool is I'm gonna throw Yoda out there up the top. See him? Oh, there he is. Hold on. Maybe he's better down. No, I like him up top. Okay, so Yoda's with me today. He's helping on the sales stuff. But let's get into this document because I think it's cool. So this is the power of words. What I did is I compiled all these trigger words. So I'll give you the link in the description and we can kind of go through it together, but I'm going to rip through to the most important parts because I got 10 minutes to finish this. The best way to use this list that I've provided you is determine the desired action you want your prospect to take, like share, subscribe, read, comment, buy, whatever it is that you're wanting them to do. Then determine the exact emotional state that will drive the action. Are they going to be curious, relaxed, fearful, inspired? If you're doing sales stuff, you want people to be moving away from fear, right? Or pain, right? So people only buy for two reasons. They're either moving away from something that's painful for them, or they're moving towards something that their pleasure or that will bring them pleasure. For example, if you're it's coming up for summertime and you're thinking, hey, I want a boat, that would be a towards the pleasure move. And then away from pain would be something like, hey, are you worried about, annoyed by, struggling with, or pissed off because of this happening in your world? That's a away from pain conversation, right? People love to solve their problems, and they love it even more if they can have a sales professional in their world that will actually help them to do it and guide them in the right direction, right? And then you just choose some of the words and sprinkle them into your language very simply. So I'm going to skip down to the part that I feel is going to serve you the best as a sales professional. Anger is a good one, right? So I use these words every so often. And here's what I mean. So instead, I use the analogy WASP, WASP. So it's worried about, annoyed by, struggling with, or pissed off because. Those are the four that I chose. Now you can choose four, create an acronym, very easy to do. Use mine if you want. But hey, a lot of my clients come to me because they're resentful that they're not getting enough people on their calendar. Is that how you feel? Or, hey, I have a lot of clients that stop me and ask me, like, they're infuriated that the sales team that they're working with, they're never able to get enough out of those guys. Is that happening to you? Right? These are emotionally triggered questions that are driving away from pain. And this is how you're not salesy in any sort of sales call or any conversation, right? Are you frustrated by? There's another one. Do you feel, are you getting impatient with your sales team? Are you ticked off? That's one I used to use all the time, but I like the analogy WASPs, right? So that's how you use this document. Again, now there's some more for safe and satisfied. And you can see here, great for sales pages when you want people to feel secure about their choice. So this would be like on sales copy. But these words, when you start sprinkling these words into your language on a day-to-day basis, watch what happens, because I can assure you, you're going to see a massive, massive change. So with that said, I will come back and stop sharing my screen here. 1 second. How do I stop that? Oh, maybe like this. Cool. There we go. So that, my friends, is right at the 10-minute mark. And Matthew Berry's in the house. What's up, Sean? And Sahil says, what do you do when somebody says, I don't have spare money right now, but I really want to learn from you. I want you as my mentor, but I can't afford that much to pay you. Sahil, that's a wonderful question. And literally, I'm out of time, but I will answer that one on Friday. So I'm going to take that question. I will put it into our bank of questions. He asks, again, what do you do when somebody says, I don't have spare money right now, but I really want to learn from you? I will answer that one on Friday as my next 10-minute high ticket tune-up. Stay tuned, guys. I hope this helped for you guys to really get out of that how do you feel salesy. And of course, if this was valuable, please smash that love button and share it to somebody that could use this. But until I see you guys on Friday with another 10-minute high ticket tune-up, this was the one that we answered. How do you get into a sales convo without things feeling salesy? And again, I will drop the resource in the comments below, so you guys could just click that link, view the document, and you'll have everything you need. Until we talk on Friday, love you all. Happy selling, and go fight win. Talk soon.